Thank you for checking out A1 Math, and today we're talking about naming polynomials and adding and subtracting polynomials. So, first thing you want to understand is in order to name a polynomial and classify it, you want to name it in as far as how many degrees it has and how many terms it is. So those are the two things you want to use to name a polynomial. What degree is highest degree and how many terms. Okay, so here's a list of classifications by degree. If it has 0, it's a constant, 1 is a linear, 2 is a quadratic, 3 cubic, 4 quartic, 5 quintic, 6 is 7th degree. Most people usually just use 4th degree and 5th degree here. So that's the first thing you want to name a polynomial with. The next thing you want to name it with is how many terms. If it has 1 monomial, 2 binomial, 3 trinomial. And if it has more, say that it's a polynomial with 4 terms or a polynomial with 5 terms. Okay, let me show you a couple of examples. Okay, so for our first example here, we have this expression that only has 1 term. But before we get into the terms, let's talk about the degrees. Its highest degree is to the second. So a second is quadratic. So our first name is going to be quadratic. And then again, it only has 1 term, so it's a quadratic monomial. Quadratic monomial. Okay, now let's take a look at the second one here. This one, the highest degree is 6. So it's going to be a 6th degree. And since it only has 2 terms, it's going to be a 6th degree binomial. 6th degree binomial. So remember, the first is the classification by degree, and the second is by how many terms it is. Here's 2 more examples. Okay, so this one's similar to the one we just did. It's to the 2nd degree, though. So the 2nd degree is going to be quadratic, and it has 2 terms, so it's going to be a binomial. Quadratic binomial. Okay, and here's our last example here. Now here you have to the 4th degree, so the highest exponent is 4. So to the 4th degree, you can use quartet, but for example here we're going to use 4th degree. Now, how many terms does it have? It has 4. So we're going to call it a polynomial, but it has 4 terms. So it's going to be a 4th degree polynomial with 4 terms. Okay. Now, that's how you name a polynomial. Next, I'm going to show you how to add and subtract polynomials. Okay, we're going to continue our lessons on polynomials. First, we learned how to name the polynomials. Now, I'm going to show you how to add and subtract. Okay, on this one, we have addition in the middle. And when you have addition, all you need to do is combine the like terms. So the first thing you want to do is find the like terms. So I'm going to go ahead and indicate those like terms right away. So I'm going to start by underlining my highest degree, which is my 2x to the 4th and my negative 3x to the 4th. Okay, my next degree here would be the negative 3x and the negative 2x, and I'm going to circle those. Okay, and now my next degree down will be my constant, and I'm going to put those in a box. So it'll be this negative 4 and this positive 5. Okay, now once you do that, you're just going to add underline with underline, circles with circles, and squares with squares. And starting with my highest degree, I'm going to go ahead and put this 2x to the fourth with this negative 3x to the fourth. And that's going to give me negative 1x to the fourth, or negative x to the fourth. Okay, next I'm going to add the circles, negative 3x and negative 2x. It's going to give me a negative 5x. And last, I'm going to add my constant, negative 4 and 5. That's going to get me a positive 1. Okay. Okay, and that's my answer. Now, I have a trinomial added to a trinomial. Doesn't necessarily have to come out this way. With a trinomial still, it could turn into a binomial. It could go up to a 4th degree polynomial, but it just happened to stay the same and is a trinomial still. Okay, now again, this is addition. Now, subtraction is the same as addition, except there's an additional step. And let me show you that in this next example. Okay, now as you can see, the first thing we need to deal with is the subtraction. So what I want to do is treat this like a negative 1 and use the distributive property to multiply that negative 1 against every term in the second trinomial. That's the first thing I want to do. And once I do that, it becomes a polynomial that I'm adding. So I'm going to rewrite this part here, and I have 6n cubed minus 8n to the fourth minus 4n squared. Okay, now when I move this to the negative, that's going to make it positive here. Okay, and now I have a positive or negative 8n squared, a negative 8n to the fourth, and a negative 6n to the third. Okay, now that that's done, it's just like the previous problem because we have addition. So we're going to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to start off by underlining my highest degree term, which would be my negative 8, or negative 8n to the fourth, and negative 8n to the fourth here. Alright, next I'm going to circle my next degree here, which is going to be negative 6n to the third and positive 6n to the third. Alright, and last I have negative 4n to the second and a negative 8n to the second. Okay, and you can use underline, circles, squares, triangles, whatever works for you. Keep in mind that just because you have a particular degree in one polynomial doesn't mean you're going to have that same degree in the other polynomial. Sometimes you just happen to not have that degree in both polynomials. If that's the case, you just bring that term down in order by degree. Now, let's go ahead and combine these and see what we got. So starting with my highest degree, which is negative n to the fourth here, negative 8n to the fourth, we're going to go ahead and combine those, and that's going to get us a negative 16n to the fourth. Now here, we've got a negative 6n to the third and a positive 6n to the third. When we add that together, we get 0. So you don't need to put that down. Okay. And finally, I'm going to take my negative 4n to the second, negative 8n to the second, combine those, and that's going to give me a negative 12n to the second. Okay. And this is my final answer. Like I said before, just because you have two trinomials doesn't mean you will end up with a trinomial. Here we have a fourth degree binomial. Okay, so again, that's the lesson on polynomials. Here where we learn how to name polynomials and we learn how to add and subtract. Thank you for stopping by. See you next time.